Captain Trell paced nervously along the observation deck of the Galactic Coalition flagship Harmony. The vast expanse of stars stretched before him, but his attention was fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching Vex Armada. The enemy fleet had broken through their outer defenses with terrifying ease, decimating 3 patrol stations in less than a standard cycle. "How many ships?" Trell asked, his 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession. 87 confirmed vessels, Captain," replied First Officer Lin, her translucent fingers dancing across the control panel. "They'll reach the Arcturus system within 40 hours. Trell's secondary heart began to race. The Coalition forces in this sector numbered only 23 ships, most of them research or diplomatic vessels with minimal combat capabilities. The math was simple and devastating. "We need to convene the council," Trell said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "We need to consider the protocol." Lin froze, her bioluminescent skin flickering with anxiety. "The human protocol? But Captain, that hasn't been invoked in over 3 centuries. Do you have a better solution?" Trell snapped, immediately regretting his tone. "Forgive me, but we both know what the Vex do to conquered worlds." Within hours, the Coalition Emergency Council gathered virtually, representatives from 17 species appearing as projections around the circular chamber. After Trell presented the situation, a heavy silence fell over the assembly. Council Elder Gorv, a massive gelatinous being whose species had been spacefaring for millennia, spoke first. "The human protocol was established for precisely this scenario. When diplomatic channels fail, when military options are exhausted, when the Coalition faces existential threat, we awaken the humans." Several council members visibly recoiled at the suggestion. "With respect, Elder," said Representative Pax, a crystalline entity whose voice resonated like wind chimes, "humans are unpredictable, dangerous. There are reasons they chose cryo sleep rather than integration. They chose preservation because we feared them," countered Representative Yord, whose reptilian features remained impassive. "Because despite being physically weaker than most council species, they defeated the Meridian Collective during the last war." The debate raged for hours, but as reports of another border outpost's destruction arrived, the vote was cast, 12-5 in favor of invoking the human protocol. The coordinates for Earth's secret sanctuary moon had been sealed away in Baal, the Coalition's most secure vault. As the Harmony approached the unremarkable celestial body orbiting a gas giant in a remote system, Trell felt a growing sense of both hope and dread. The facility was exactly as described in the ancient records, a sprawling underground complex built into the moon's rocky core. Coalition security systems still functioned, recognizing their credentials and granting access with a series of pneumatic hisses as ancient doors opened for the first time in centuries. Director Reed opened his eyes to the sterile white ceiling of the revival chamber. His body felt heavy, his mind sluggish as consciousness gradually returned. The revival process had worked exactly as designed, waking him first as the facility's administrator. "Status report," he croaked, his voice raspy from centuries of disuse. The Coalition delegation stood awkwardly at the foot of his recovery bed. Captain Trell stepped forward, performing the traditional human greeting gesture they had studied from historical records. "Director Reed, I am Captain Trell of the Galactic Coalition. We have invoked the human protocol due to an existential threat. The Vex Imperium has launched a full-scale invasion of Coalition space." Reed nodded slowly, assimilating the information as the medical nanites completed their work, restoring his muscle tone and neural functions. "How many of us do you need?" The question caught Trell off guard. We assumed your entire contingent would be necessary." Reed's laugh was dry and without humor. 10,000 human soldiers against an interstellar empire? No. The question is how many of us you can handle. How dire is your situation? "We face total defeat within weeks," Lin admitted. "Millions of lives, billions at risk." "Then we wake the wolves first," Reed decided, reaching for a control panel beside his bed. 100 of our best. If that's not enough, we go deeper. Within 12 hours, 100 humans stood assembled in the facility's main hall. Coalition officers watched with a mixture of fascination and unease as these legendary warriors prepared themselves. Unlike the cybernetically enhanced Vex, or the naturally armored species of the Coalition, humans appeared fragile, vulnerable. But there was something in their eyes that made even the bravest Coalition soldiers step back. A focused intensity, a capacity for controlled violence that seemed at odds with their unassuming physique. Commander Anna led the human contingent. Her calm demeanor belied the tactical brilliance that had made her renowned during the last war. The Vex rely on overwhelming force and predictable attack patterns, she observed after reviewing the tactical data. They expect you to follow conventional, strategic doctrine, preservation of forces, defensive positioning, minimizing civilian casualties. Yes, confirmed Trell. The Coalition military charter mandates these approaches. Anna exchanged glances with her fellow humans. That's why you're losing. We'll need control of your fastest ships, access to your weapon systems, and complete operational autonomy. The Coalition officers bristled at the request, but Elder Gorv, who had joined the mission, intervened. Give them what they need. This is why we woke them. What followed was a master class in asymmetric warfare. Rather than directly engaging the superior Vex forces, the human tacticians identified critical vulnerabilities: supply lines, communication relays, leadership vessels. Using Coalition ships in ways their designers never intended, the humans executed precision strikes that sowed chaos throughout the Vex fleet. When the Vex adapted, the humans changed tactics, becoming more unpredictable, more aggressive. They weaponized the Coalition's scientific vessels, converting research equipment into improvised weapons. They exploited astronomical phenomena that other species considered too dangerous to approach, and when necessary, they threw themselves into seemingly suicidal engagements that somehow, impossibly resulted in victories. 3 weeks after they were awakened, the humans stood on the bridge of a captured Vex command ship, accepting the enemy admiral's surrender. The Coalition representatives watched in amazement as Commander Anna negotiated terms that were simultaneously generous and absolutely binding. You fought well, she told the defeated Vex admiral. But remember this, we were only 100. There are 10,000 more like us still sleeping. Should you break these terms, we won't stop at defending Coalition space next time. Later, as the human contingent prepared to return to their cryo chambers, Trell approached Commander Anna with a question that had been troubling him. Why go? Back to sleep? The Coalition would welcome you now. Your people could have a place among the stars. Anna smiled, but there was something ancient and weary in her expression. Because we know ourselves, Captain. Humanity isn't ready yet. We're still too human, but we'll be here when you need us again. As the last cryopod sealed shut, Captain Trell couldn't decide whether he felt relief or regret. The humans had saved them all, but in doing so, had reminded the galaxy why they had chosen to remove themselves from it in the first place. Some species evolved to build, some evolved to nurture. Humans, it seemed, had evolved to fight. And when nobody knew how to act in the face of extinction, that made them the most valuable species in the galaxy.